Hello, and welcome to the first installment of my video cooking lessons at thefatveganchef.com. I want to share with you some vegan recipes and techniques that will be easily accessible to every cook. I'm going to use ingredients that are readily available either in a regular grocery store, health food store, or online. Every recipe I make can be found at thefatveganchef.com, and I've included links to some of the ingredients that you can buy online in case you can't find it locally. Today's episode is kind of a dry run for me, and I thought I would keep it simple. Last year I traveled to Costa Blanca, Spain, for a holiday, and I ate breakfast a few times at this little tapas bar in Merida called Bar Costa Blanca, and ate tostada con tomate. It is a really popular breakfast item for the Spaniards, and I fell in love with this. I've been making it almost every day for breakfast and since I've been back to the States, and I wanted to share it with you today. It is very easy to make because it only has 4 ingredients. Since this breakfast or snack has so few ingredients, I highly suggest you buy the best ingredients you can though, because you will be able to taste everything. The tools you will need to create this dish are a nice thick pan like a cast iron skillet, and another pan or something that has some weight like a wok. You will also need a medium-sized grater and a bowl large enough to fit the grater in. You're also going to need to get some of the moisture out of the Roma tomatoes, so you'll need something like a fine mesh strainer, and also a spoon, a fork, and a bread knife. And you also need a plate, of course, to serve the food on. And now for the ingredients, you'll need some bread. Traditionally, it is made with a demi-baguette, which is a sandwich-sized baguette. I've also used bolillo or ciabatta, and I like to use whole or multigrain variations, and that's just for the nutrition, but traditionally it's served on white bread. You also need a good, fresh, organic, and washed Roma tomato, and some good, high-quality, first cold-pressed extra virgin Spanish olive oil. Please do not use Italian olive oils or grocery store oils for this. Look in your town to see if there is a place that sells specialty olive oils, and if not, there's a link at the website where you can buy some high quality Spanish olive oil. The final ingredient that you'll need is some Mediterranean sea salt, and this you want to use the sea salt and not table salt, because you want the flavor of the sea to be a part of your dish. Okay, so now that we have our ingredients put together, let us start cooking this, shall we? I'm going to start by preheating my pan. I've found that the best temperature to cook with is medium to medium high, and your stove may vary depending upon the age and the pan that you're using. You may have to adjust a little bit. First 2 or 3 times you might burn the bread, but that's normal. You may know your stove better. And while the pan's heating up, you want to take the Roma tomato and you want to grate it on the grater and let the bowl catch the meat of the pan, and catch the meat of the tomato, excuse me. And while the tomato is grating, most of the skin should remain intact, and you want to grate as little of the skin as possible, and the remainder of the skin you can add to the compost heap. And I like to push against the skin as I'm grating it, so that way I can get all the way down to the skin. And yeah, that looks good. And then, like I said, you can take the skin and put it in your compost heap. And then go ahead and try to get as much of the flesh off the grater. Don't want to waste any of this tomato. Okay. There we go. looks good. And then what you want to do is add a pinch of the sea salt to your tomato. And what this will do is help flavor your tomato, and also it's going to draw out some of the moisture out of the meat itself. And that way it kind of helps get your tomatoes dry as possible. You want to mix that up just a little bit, get it all incorporated. And once that's incorporated, what you want to do is take the meat and add that to your fine mesh strainer. I'm going to do this over the sink so I don't make a mess here. And once that meat is in the strainer, what you want to do is tap this against your bowl. Get as much liquid as you can out of it. There we go, that looks good. So you're left with a good just meat and very little liquid in there. And then what you want to do is set this aside, and then take your bread and you want to slice this bread lengthwise. Try to get it as even as possible, so that way you got an even amount of bread on either side. And then once you've got your bread sliced, what you're going to do is you're going to toast this on the pan. Alright, now it's time to toast the bread. And I like to toast mine dry. I find it comes out a lot better like this. I'll take my bread, put it on top of my cast iron skillet, and put the other thing, like my wok, on top of the bread. And this will allow it to toast evenly across the bread. And this is going to take a couple minutes for it to toast. And you want to check it every minute or so, make sure it's toasting fine. We'll let it sit here and toast for a minute. Alright, let's check to see if it's done here. And it's getting there, it's almost done. This one is. So what I'll do is I'll swap these out and put the pan back on. And we'll give it another minute. And let's go ahead and check it. Oh yeah, that looks good. And that side looks good. So that's toasted. See, it didn't take very long at all. So I'll go ahead and shut off my stove. And let's go ahead and assemble, shall we? Once you have your bread on your plate, it's time to assemble this. First thing you want to do is take your Roma tomato, put half of the tomato on one slice and the other half on the other, just like so. And again, try to get as much of the meat as possible. And then what you want to do is spread the meat on the bread. Try to get it on all the bread. It's going to be a thin layer, and that's kind of what you want. There we go. Do the same with the other side, of course. Okay, now that you have the meat on the bread, what you want to do is take your fork. You want to poke some holes on the bread, and when this will allow to happen is allow the olive oil to soak into the bread a little bit. And again, what you want to do is use first cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, and try to get a Spanish variety of olive oil, because this is a Spanish dish. And again, if you can't find it locally, I do have a link on my website where you can purchase some online, and it's really good. So now that you've got the olive oil on, what you want to do is sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on top of your bread. And just like that. And it's done. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to be notified when there's new videos in the future. You can find this recipe and more at thefatveganchef.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Links are all on the website. Enjoy.